speed on that.
Last week we were like,
There you go, one.
Okay,
it's all so good with the
updated.
Okay, so first, number one on there, I'm going to report on the things that were approved by the Assistant County Administrator, Mr. Morgan. On November 28th, he accepted the resignation of Raymond Wernette, part-time driver from Transit, to be effective November 30th, 2018. And also of note, relating to some action that was authorized by the board last week, on November 29, 2018, jury executed the first addendum to the Mancan Credit and Service Form for the period ending December 31st, 2019. That's for temporary help. And number two, financials. So, do I have that one?
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. There it is. There it is. Okay. November 29th, 2018, resolution number 18-158. I approved on behalf for the board financials include appropriation transfer from the engineer's office to make funds available for hospitalization, and a supplemental appropriation from juvenile probate court in their CASA fund to make funds available for hospitalization, and a purchase order for Department developed CED from Mancan for that temporary staffing, and a revenue certification from Transit for additional
No,
funds.
you can't.
I gotta go answer the phones.
Okay, so now what we want to do is financials. Adrian.
Okay, today's financials include a cash transfer from JFS for their November and December estimated amounts for child support funds owed to public assistance. A then and now from the juvenile court for Dr. Courtney Kern Hoffman, PhD, for social assessments not previously encumbered. And among the vouchers are $42,579.73 from the Common Police Court to Nelski Incorporated for the first floor hallway restoration at the courthouse, $20,007.96 from JFS to Board of PD for their March Help Me Grow expenses, and $54,990 from Transit to Foxter Solutions for the transit ride scheduling software.
So on that, on the one with the juvenile court, what was the amount for that? For the
Then and now was for $15,500.
and that spanned over a course of how much time? Because you said
Then
it was
and now
not
should be in
encumbered.
there. It was not previously encumbered, no.
Okay.
And these were for psychological and social evaluations. There should be dates on those.
The date of purchase says 4/21/18, but like the invoices also say like, they also say November. There's a top of the thing on the front says April, so I don't know if you can tell me.
The date that it probably was, should have been encumbered was 4/21/18, so it probably spanned a time from April to the beginning of November. So.
But why wasn't it encumbered?
I don't know the answer to that question. It's possible that, the financial people did not realize that these services were going on, or they were not informed to get a purchase order, and, usually it's someone in management not communicating with someone, the clerk or somebody, that they need to get an encumbrance in place before these expenses start happening.
But we would have the budget allow, or what they've got in the budget covers
Yeah,
that.
so what a then and now basically means is that when you should have had the appropriations back then, you had them. You just didn't have the encumbrances. And you also have the appropriations now in order to pay it. So that's where the then and now comes from.
Right.
So they're covered on, they could have had the encumbrance, but they didn't, and they have the appropriations both then and now, which makes it a legal expense as long as they go through this process.
Okay. All right, so I'll make that motion.
Second. Who do you want to pick, Chris?
It's multiple choice.
I think beat you by
Yeah.
the second.
Yeah, quick on the draw.
Seriously. Okay,
All
Commissioner
right.
Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Morning.
Morning.
What's up, Nick?
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'd like to just keep these three separate if that's okay, because they're just separate contracts.
Sure.
The first item on here is requesting the board approve and execute final change order decreasing the contract with Sugar and Valley Paving for the asphalt resurfacing of sections D through E of Auburn Road in the amount of $20,763.16. It was all pretty much incidental work to actually fit the job, it just balanced out that way, so no changes.
Okay.
So, second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon? Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Item 5 is requesting the board approve and execute change order number 1 and final, increasing the contract with Sugar and Valley Paving for the asphalt resurfacing of Georgia Road in the amount of $7,630.60. With this project, the big change in here was driveways making a good transition back to some of the slopes, and so that added some dollars up, but still incidental to the job, nothing that was, we couldn't see it until we put the intermediate surface down.
So, second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And the last one is requesting the board execute the final change order with Roniak Paving for the asphalt resurfacing of Bundysburg Road. It's an increase of $4,801.40. And again, this is just incidental material to cover the existing asphalt.
So moved. Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes,
Right, Nick.
sir. Thank you.
Be safe out there.
Okay, the prosecutor's office.
There's nobody here. This is a annual board appointment that we have to make before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, this
for
was
the
just started up a
volunteer.
couple of years ago where you have to appoint it's generally the sheriff and the auditor.
So this is just a reappointment of the sheriff and the auditor to the volunteer peace officers
Yep.
dependents fund board for the
Yep.
term ending December 31st of 19.
Just a question, does it need to be the auditor and the sheriff, or is that just something
I
good?
think that's what's recommended. I'm
Okay.
not sure if you're restricted, there might be someone else, but just because it's related to the peace officer and then the auditor as the fiscal officer of the county.
Yeah, and they have to hold elections and they have to have members from the department and outside and all of that stuff.
Is the auditor being reappointed or being appointed?
He's being reappointed because you took action this year to appoint him to
Mhm.
fill the vacancy for
Okay.
Mr. Bleha through the end of this year.
Gotcha.
So it is a reappointment.
Okay. Very good. Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Okay, soil and water.
This is for the agricultural program. So, they handle the agricultural easement for you guys, the program.
Yeah.
So this is just paperwork for them to be able to process that, I think the first payment to Weiler Farm Yanf, correct?
She has on here that she has a form that needs to be signed so we can begin the closing portion of the first farmland easement to the Byler Farm, and it also includes the Ima Farm. This is to send the money to the title agent to go into escrow at closing to be dispersed.
And this is the one that started actually last year, correct?
Yeah, this was the first one.
Okay.
This is
Now
the
it's
very,
just-
very first one,
right.
and then it
Okay.
also includes the second one.
Okay.
Yep.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is just a housekeeping matter for us with the our Department of Services agency. We have to update our signature card for requesting payments on those grants and for the report that's issued on the grant. So we're just amending the signature card.
So you have to sign them two places,
Okay.
on both forms.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Mhm.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Yes.
set.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Bless you. There he is.
Good morning.
Morning,
Morning,
Steve. Busy guy.
No doubt.
Drop you in the deep end of the pool.
Well, that's okay. I have 3 major items and 1 minor item. The first one is Water Resources is requesting the board to approve and execute contract maintenance. Form number 1, increasing the contract with platform cement for the Burton Lakes Dam, where each is required by the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. The amount is $44,500. And it's part of the removal of the old spillway and reconstruction of what will occur after that spillway.
So we're increasing it from what to this amount?
I don't have the answer.
It was initially $500. This was one of our service contracts that we set up every year. And so they're still able to do this under the service contract. So this is just increasing that service contract from 500 to 44.
This is a one-time increase?
Correct.
Yeah, for this
This is
business.
for
Just
that project
specifically
that
for
just
this
came up
project.
during the
We
year.
set up those service contracts at the beginning of the year, so we don't have to go through the whole
Sure.
contract, getting contracts and
That is the
insurance and all that.
change order that
It's all
we're
done.
talking about.
Now when we have a project like this, we just increase it.
Jerry, does the EPA finalize the plan on that dam?
ODNR has approved it. That's
Or
why-
ODNR,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why we went out and sought out the platform. We actually got, we tried to get 3. We got one from CUE for a similar price, but they would have actually gone over there for $50,000.
So do you think they'll still be able to get working through the winter then, or are they gonna wait till spring? or-
Yeah, no, they should be getting
Okay.
some repairs.
Mhm.
You could probably do a whole ceiling for the courthouse for this. 44,000.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have site rate on it.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So moved.
The next one that Jerry's gonna have to be involved
Second,
in.
wait a minute,
Hold on
We
one
can vote
second.
on this.
Yeah,
Commissioner
you
Claypool?
get it.
I know you're excited about it.
Yes.
Which
Aye.
one?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you can go.
All right. Number 12, Water Resource request from the board approve and execute change order number 4, increasing the contract with SET for the Bainbridge Sanitary Trunk Main Realignment Project in the amount of $35,857.20 in order to extend the date of completion by additional 49 days to December 28, 2018. Project is extended because of soil stability issues requiring more work around the trunk main as it was replaced.
Okay, so move. Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Number 13, again, the board, we request the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute State of Ohio Water Development Authority change order forms 1, 2, 3, and number 4 for the contract with SET Incorporated for the Bainbridge Sanitary Trunk Main Realignment Project for changes in material, additional work, and upgrades and date of completion. This one, I need a little help from Jerry.
These change orders, the 4th one was the one you just approved. The previous change orders have been approved. This is just paperwork for the funding source, OWDA, for us to submit to them so that they can then reimburse us for the cost that we've spent.
Okay. So move. Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Mhm.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Last item from Water Resources is a request for the board to approve an unpaid personal leave of absence for Steve Owens, Director, from December 7th through December 14th.
So, second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Mhm.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
We used to have an easy button here that you could press. So that was easy.
Thank you
I
very
thought it
much.
was under there.
Thank you.
Way to give you one tough one, though.
Well, that's okay.
Okay,
That one's Jerry.
this is the Jerry Show.
The Jerry Show, that's right.
This item is just to get approval to go out for a request for qualifications for architectural firms, and move forward with the possible building projects. Go out and get qualifications. The last time, when we went out, the one we got was Bowen. And now that we're gonna be expending possibly between $40 and $50 million, is feel like we should go out and try to get a few more qualifications and to verify that we're getting the best architectural firm to move forward with actual design and builds.
Makes sense.
So, this will be re-advertised then, is that how you? Yeah,
Put it out
okay,
in paper and.
okay,
Statement, the requirements to be in the statement will be on the website as well as available at the office here.
so where else?
We're
do-
under no obligation to, to do anything with this RFQ other than it's just getting architectural firms and construction firms, design firms to submit their qualifications to us. So until we actually get to the RFP per the request for proposal portion, and then decide on one to actually work a contract out and get a contract, when, there's no obligation to do anything.
Right.
So this just kind of really puts us in that position to move forward and quicker once we finally.
It gives us strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I had talked about the fact that I think we had set this up, staged this so that we could just move forward with Bowen, but we thought that we would do, step back and kind of take a look at the broader field, just to make sure we're getting the best
Correct.
company. So-
I mean, this would, takes it to a certain level or step where now you're getting some attention. This is gonna put you on the map with these type of firms that are gonna say, okay, they're pretty serious here,
Correct,
this
yeah,
is
'cause
a
now
real
it's
project.
no longer just a,
A talk,
Yeah,
yeah.
we may want to do this, we're actually looking at moving forward,
Yeah,
taking that next step, so.
And that doesn't, it doesn't, as Jerry said, it doesn't obligate you, and also to be determined, part of the, final work that Bowen's gonna do in the current study is talk to you about financing options and talk to you about delivery methods, whether you do a traditional or a project manager or a construction manager at risk.
mm-hmm,
But having the, starting the process by getting the word out there and starting to get those qualifications, it just allows you to move.
absolutely. And so we've worked on, trying to get a calendar or a time frame together too, to meet these achievements and goals, right? I know that two of you have been working.
Yeah, right now, we're looking at, the shortest term, if all the stars align and, we fly forward,
Mhm.
at least 2.5 years to put in new buildings, but you're probably, more realistically, you're probably looking at 3 to 3.5 years.
But when will we hear back from Bowen as far as the, delivery methods and financials and, different?
I believe within the next week or two, is when they said they would have
Yeah,
us. So they
so
have it
we'll
in.
schedule,
Okay.
schedule meetings based on your availability, so you
Yeah.
a work session and come to that.
But I wanted to get this started so that once we have those, we're not then, waiting a month to get qualifications in and
Yep.
doing proposals.
And that was Jerry thinking ahead and say, hey, let's get this part going, that way we're not,
Yep.
tightening.
Okay, very good.
Sounds good.
So, second.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mhm.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
Great, thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll,
We're moving forward. Keeping this ball rolling.
Oh, on the,
waste, solid waste.
Do we have that letter of intent for the Waste Management District?
I have not received anything.
Because I got confirmation back from both Laura and Jerry and Greg on that yesterday.
Nothing was ever
And
submitted
so
to me.
we need to get Jerry back.
Yeah, I'll go
He
get
knows
it.
about
I gotta get Adrian out here anyway, because we're almost to that thing.
okay.
Okay, so for 16, what do you have there?
So, yesterday afternoon,
Here's
Mr.
Jerry.
Rolfe,
Sorry.
that's okay. They provided an amended Exhibit A, the legal description, and Exhibit B, which is the map in relation to the annexation. The hearing is slated for the 18th, but, so this amendment, I'm just asking if you would accept the amended annexation exhibits for the legal description and the map that we received December 3rd, 2018 for the First United Methodist Church of Middlefield, and hereby amending annexation petition to include these revised bid documents.
Do you need a motion on that?
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Do we have any signatures or needed, or just motion?
Nope,
Okay.
it's just right now, we're just accepting the amended
Okay.
paperwork and keeping the ball rolling.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a question for Jerry?
Yeah, we, at the last Waste Management District meeting, had made a decision to move forward with the Geauga County Waste Management site on Merritt Road. And so right now, we have a letter of intent that's in process. We've been bouncing it back and forth between the attorneys. Jerry looked at it yesterday. All the attorneys have blessed it at this point in time. So we've got a couple of things to talk about on it. Modification, the only modification is the amount at this point in time, but it's basically just a letter of intent. It doesn't commit anybody to anything, but to move forward and to review the site and to start the balls rolling to make the Merritt Road site, it's out by the county engineer, the site in which our new centralized waste management district will be placed. And so it's been a long time coming.
Mhm.
You know, we've been battling through this, trying to get through all the political machinations in order to make this happen, but it looks like it's going to start moving forward. I mean, with the county engineer this afternoon to talk about how we he might help to facilitate making that happen. So, and Jerry, you could update the other two guys in terms of the legal agreement or the letter of intent.
Yeah, right now, it's just a preliminary letter of intent that we'll hopefully have before you next week for session. But just so, it's kind of giving the waste management an option on the property, so we don't sell it, not that we have anybody else who's interested in it, but we
Mhm.
want to sell it out from underneath them. Gives them, I think it's 30 days to do their due diligence for obtaining, whatever funding they would need, do the environmental assessments, do all the things that they would need prior to having a contract put together.
So it's a
So
solid,
then
it's a
we'll-
solid waste district, because we keep using waste management, and people might
Sorry,
think we're
Yeah.
talking
solid
about.
waste district.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Solid
it's
waste
waste,
district.
yeah, yeah.
My
Solid waste
bad,
district.
that's what
That's right.
comes into my head, but
Yeah.
the solid waste district, so they can, they can review it and look at it, and then at that point, we would, put together an actual lease agreement, because that's what I think the intent was for them to do, the lease, they would pay for building the building, and then
Release the land.
So this is,
The land.
this is a recycling center, and we were talking, Tim and I were talking to Joe Patel yesterday about how they do Geauga County specific recycling days, and the cars just line up Merritt Road. I
All the
mean,
way out to 44.
Tremendous demand, but on a regular basis, you have to go down to the one recycling site in Warren. And what especially Skip has been working on is to work out a way that Geauga County could have its own site that would offer recycling on a much more frequent basis.
Mhm. Yeah, and, I think this is a very positive thing for Geauga County. Obviously, this is going to be, I don't know how many or who was really driving to Warren to, on their recycling days. I can't imagine there was a lot of Geauga residents heading that way.
Right.
And this has really been, thanks to Skip, over the last 2.5, 3 years, turning that waste district around. I mean, that thing was heading in the wrong direction until Skip, and I'd just like to, thank you for that, Skip, and all your hard work there.
Appreciate that.
We're gonna miss not having you here to see that to completion, but I think you've positioned that solid waste management in a good spot moving forward for the future, and this, I truly believe this will be a well-utilized thing for Geauga County, so thanks again.
Well, there's been so much, I mean, like you said, the cost associated with these one-day pickups is enormous.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, Geauga County people don't go down to the Warren district to drop off, all their hazardous chemicals and all that kind of stuff. At the same token, I appreciate the kudos. Greg Kowalczyk, the director, has been working at this really hard, and this is kind of a tricky political thing because we're working two different counties. And I can thank the
Right.
commissioners from Trumbull County. They've been very cooperative on this.
Mhm.
And they didn't have to. They could dig in their heels and fight us on this. They haven't done that. They've been very collaborative with us on this.
Yeah.
And so it's been a good thing. It's been a long time coming because government wheels don't turn fast by any stretch of the imagination. But if it happens, and hopefully it will, I think we're positioned to be able to make it happen. If things play out as we have envisioned them, then I think it will be a very good thing for people. in Geauga
Yeah,
County.
and the killing two birds with one stone, I think it'll also help alleviate some of the stress that some of the different townships are seeing with their recycling pickup areas.
Yes.
You know, my thinking is, and I mean, we haven't decided as a board yet, but my thinking is, we might not need 16 different locations anymore. Maybe let's consolidate these. Now that we have a central location, we can work out, you know, be more strategic in those pickups, and then, you know, we can kind of eliminate some of the, you know, problem childs and just really focus on maintaining those sites that are there. And, you know, one of the biggest things I think was the honor system, and not, you know, having hours of operation there, I think wasn't working out. So, you know, we're working towards, you know, having a little more secure, monitored locations. So I think this is a win-win for everybody.
And I will add as a parting comment, you know, I take this for granted. I've got two really good partners there, and I take them for granted. That they have been very cooperative on this and thoughtful, and provide guidance, you know, chip in and provide some very valuable input on helping to make this all happen. So I can't thank the two of you enough for just being there and being the great partners that you've been. And not just this, a lot of things. I mean, the county really has benefited from your wisdom and thoughts on a lot of the stuff that we do. And, you know, on this, I've taken you for granted, but
Well, and
they've been at the
I don't
table,
think
so.
this would be happening if you weren't involved in it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you put a ton of time into this, that there's no doubt about it. This is gonna be a win for the county, you know, across the board. And the beauty is that the dollars that are going into doing this are really not dollars that are coming out of the taxpayer's pocket, but rather this is what the, you know, solid waste district collects per tonnage that goes to the landfills, that we have been able to, you know, manage correctly on that side of it with the Trumbull County Commissioners. But ultimately, you know, Skip, you did a phenomenal job, and I'll tell you, this is a super feather in your cap of just another accomplishment of what you've done, you know, while you've been here, and I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we'll have the contract for the 11/10 next week, right?
Great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So we got
Adrian.
Adrian? Yep.
Just same line.
Yeah, I did.
Should I sit back in my chair?
Yeah, you don't want to
You
get.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
might want to come out.
Okay.
And, you can.
Jerry, you're in my seat.
You can sit on my lap.
He's gonna put his reserve sign on there.
Whoa. I could say something with my
I had it on, and I just shut it.
How are you?
There it goes.
Good.
Turn the lights off.
Yeah, we'll turn the lights on. Let's, yeah, there we go. Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, thanks for everybody who's here right now, and this is the 2019 Permanent Appropriations presentation. I'm Adrian Gordon, the Budget Finance Manager, and Dave Lair is up here as well, the County Administrator.
But Adrian did all the work. I just want to point that out.
Well, I do appreciate, this was my first full cycle. I kind of came in at this point last year, everything was mostly done. So this was the first full cycle that I went through with getting the tax budgets from all the departments and doing all the meetings and the tax budget preparation and the final budget request and everything. And Dave, you know, he may downplay his role, but he had a lot of input, as well as Jerry and Debbie Ashburn, who isn't in here right now, and of course all the commissioners. We all sat in here day after day, meeting with everybody and going over everything, so I do appreciate the collaboration that went into this. So I'll go ahead and get us started. This presentation is probably going to seem a little familiar. You know, a lot of the numbers change, obviously, but it's pretty much the same format as prior years, so we'll go through everything here. So the first thing is just kind of talking about how the permanent appropriations process works. There is a budget commission that the county has, and they certify the revenues that are expected to be received for the year. That number, along with whatever the unencumbered fund balance is that's identified at the beginning of the year, those two things combined together equal what our resources are. So you have spending that happens throughout the year, whatever the cash balance that's left in a fund, combined with the revenue expected equals the resources, and we can't exceed those certified resources at any point in appropriations. You can't have a negative balanced fund. So that's what we work to do through the budget process, to make sure that there's enough resources to meet the appropriations needs of the departments based on what the Budget Commission says we'll be getting. So for the general fund, which this presentation is going to focus primarily on, we assumed a minimum carryover balance of $5 million with expected 2019 revenues of $29,321,135, which equals a total resources of $34,331,135. So the way we budget in the general fund is that we budget to a zero balance. So all of our expenses are balanced with our total resources. So just kind of a breakdown here of the general fund revenue sources. As we can see, almost 75% of the general fund's revenue comes from sales tax and real estate taxes, which is we actually increased the sales tax estimate for this year. It's been consistently above the $13 million that we had been budgeting for. So we did increase that $1 million this year, and that equals about 47.75% of the general fund's revenue. Also real estate taxes, we have that at about $7.8 million, or about 26.58% of the total revenue.
What was the increase real estate taxes from last year?
Actually, I believe that is about the same as it has been.
Even with
the only real two numbers that went up for this year was the sales tax and also the interest income.
Okay.
So it went up about $1.4 million.
Dave, when was the last time Geauga County raised the sales tax? When was that?
It was raised from, the local tax is 1%. It was raised from 0.5% at the end of 2003. It took effective February 1st of 2004, and that was put in for, initially it was an interim tax for public safety and technology, and I think it was in 2008 when it was going to expire, the commissioners took action to make that permanent. But Geauga's rate at 1% local is still among the lowest in the state.
It was at 6.5 for a long time, and then it went to 6 and...
Well, it actually bumped to 6.75 because the state increased their part.
Okay.
Yeah, the county has not changed their rate
Okay.
of 1% locally since 2004.
Yeah, I do have some, the average sales tax rate in the state of Ohio is 7.124%. Ohio law allows counties to option up to 2.25%. There are only 2 counties out of all 88 in the state with lower tax rates than Geauga County. So Geauga County remains a very sales tax friendly county in the state. So some of the lesser amounts in the budget here are department fees and fines at about $3 million, the property transfer tax at about $1 million, the casino tax at about $900,000. Prisoner housing, we continue to estimate that low because it has fluctuated greatly over the years that we've had it. So although it is performing right now well above that $800,000 level, we can continue to conservatively budget that income. Interest income, as I mentioned earlier, increased about $400,000 from the $300,000 amount to $700,000. The local government tax, which they actually did increase this. The budget is about $33,000 more than it was in the tax budget, simply because the Budget Commission is estimating about $33,000 more in the local government tax. And then the cost allocation, which is the county allocating some of its costs to the departments that are outside the general fund for some of the expenses that we incur to serve them through things like the prosecutor's office, ADP, auditors, commissioners, maintenance, different departments like that. We recouped a little bit of that money. And then the infamous other at less than 0.25%, quarter percent.
So while we're on this, just, can you reiterate, or Dave, because I think that there's always that misconception out there when people are paying the outrageous amount of taxes that they pay on their properties, that clarify really what we truly get compared to what is actually collected.
Right. It's, what is it, 11 cents per, out of the dollar, I think, ends up with it.
Yeah, it's in the low to mid 10-cent range. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the vast, by far the largest chunk of property tax goes to your local school. And then the next largest chunk is to typically the township or the local government you're in. And then it finally gets down to the county. The county property tax, all those taxes except the inside millage and general fund are things the voters voted for. Mm-hmm. So the largest single chunk of what's county tax is Metzenbaum. And then there's all the other ones that are on that pie chart. But what the general fund gets is a very, very small percentage of what people are paying on their property tax.
Remember, Adrian, you and I had talked about this, putting a slide in here to kind of show that countywide breakdown of property tax and see where our slice is.
Yeah, that's
because people underestimate the amount of money going into parks,
right,
and they underestimate the amount of money going into Board of DD, and they underestimate the number. I mean, this is sizable pie slices compared to what we run the whole county on. And you got the parks and you got the schools. Now, schools are understandable. You've got Board of DD and you've got the library. I mean, those take huge chunks of property tax.
And then you have the children's services levies that people voted for. And we're very fortunate that voters do that because we have a lot of needs in the area right now. You have the mental health levy that people vote for. You have the road levy that people vote for.
And a point, and I just heard this
Department on Aging.
And I just heard this from our planning commission in Chesterland, who I'll reserve comment on. But they're complaining about the fact that seniors can't live in their homes anymore, and they're being forced out by property tax. So these property taxes are voted on
Correct.
by others
Yes.
to vote seniors out of their homes.
Yes.
And I'll think about that.
Yes.
And so we've got to be very conscious of that. And I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah, there is a pie chart a little bit like that in the tax budget.
In the tax budget
presentation.
hearing as well.
So
Right,
we could
yeah.
probably
It helps in the
probably
context
bring
of the
that
whole
over.
discussion about taxes here, because,
Yeah.
it's easy for people to take a look at the money that we manage and say, well, wow, that's a lot you're putting into this, you're putting into that, but they lose the context of.
We have the expense pie chart, which is coming up here, but not a revenue one in this presentation. Okay, so for the 2019 permanent appropriations, total appropriations for all funds is a little over 120 million. The total appropriations for the general fund, as I mentioned earlier, based on the revenue, is the 34,331,135. General fund line item requests obviously are a little bit more. This does not include additional requests for transfers from the general fund to non-general fund line items. So the difference between those two general fund line items equal what we commonly refer to as unfunded requests or delayed funding. Once we know, the status of the cash balance in the general fund at the beginning of the year, we'll be able to make decisions to appropriate further. Right now, the largest of those unfunded items include about $532,000 for the auditor and ADP requests, and about $580,000 in operating transfers, which I had to reduce in order to provide funds for other requests that were needed. So, to the next one. This is the pie chart breakdown of the general fund operating expenses by category. Obviously, some of these numbers change slightly, usually, a couple tenths of a % here or there, but The public safety is still obviously the largest chunk of the general fund expenditures, which includes the sheriff's office, coroner, and the building department. And that's about 12.1 million right now, or 39% of the operating expenses. Next up would be like your legislative and executive, which includes the auditors, commissioners, archives, prosecutors, recorders, treasurers, ADP, maintenance, planning, and board of elections. And that's at about 10.3 million, or 33.2%. And then the third largest being the judicial, which includes all the courts, as well as the jury commission and the public defender. And that's about 5.1 million, or 16.5%. Next is miscellaneous, and miscellaneous includes like all the legal fees, the transfers to the group home, the juvenile home, the youth center, as well as for the mental handicap, the county share of that, their medical expenses, postage is in there. So there's a number of different things that entails that miscellaneous. So then you've got human services at about 6 million or 600,000. The health, which is about 3 million, and then this is just general fund expenditures, and then conservation recreation at about 500,000. So
What's the recreation?
That's soil, water, and the horseshoe extension
correct, yeah.
contributions. And then the human services, that's veterans, right?
Yes.
Right.
Probably should just change those just to make them more descriptive.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
what they
but
are.
there could be other things eventually that are
Yeah,
paid
that are
out
included in that,
that
yeah.
size.
You know, and I'm sitting here thinking about that, there's one great opportunity, and it's been one that I always wanted to look at while I was here, and we never really executed on it, was fleet management. We operated an awful lot of cars,
Right.
the sheriff's cars and so on and so forth, bringing all that fleet under one umbrella. I
Right.
think we could help to trim that public safety fund a little bit. And so it could be an area for opportunity.
Well, and say, I mean, obviously, you look at the maintenance department, and then over the building department, JFS, there's a number of people that, and beside, in transit, but that's a separate fund, that all operate vehicles. They could all benefit from more of a unified approach.
Okay, and then, so our realistic estimate of a cash balance within the general fund is about 8.5 million. We're figuring carryover encumbrances from 2018 to be about 900,000, making net resources available based on the Budget Commission's recommendations of 7.6 million. Less that estimated carryover of 5 million means that estimated resources available at the supplemental would be about 2.6 million. Restoring the contingency starting balance by 675 to bring it up to the 975 that we've had the last couple of years. And then pending general fund requests, including those operating transfers and also elections equipment, which I'll mention here in a second, of about 2.36, means that, you know, the estimated general fund balance remaining is slightly in the negative number. Hoping to have a little bit better revenues for the rest of the year, should be able to meet all those general fund requests and still have some balance left in there, which any general fund balance that remains, we'd probably consider that for transfer to a capital building fund in anticipation of constructing new county offices, facilities. So among the pending funding requests that we have right now, ADP has about 546,000. That includes some payroll that they were looking to get. They've obviously, after what happened at the end of last year, they had to move a lot of things around, a lot of resources around. So they were looking for some additional staff, as well as taking over the possibility of some of the phone bills and different stuff that the county has. We haven't finalized that yet, although they had the appropriations in there, so that was reduced. Maintenance is still carrying that until we're able to come to an agreement with them on funding that. The auditor, the 41,000 that's there was some equipment that they were looking to get. And then the Board of Elections, has some funding coming from the state in order to get new scanners. Unfortunately, we have to, I believe, spend that money prior to it coming back to us. We're kind of having a wait and see look on that until everything's finalized. We can certify additional revenue and put those appropriations where they need to be once we know all the final arrangements for that. That was not included, though, in the original unfunded number that I had. So the clerk of courts, that's primarily salaries that she was looking at for her people. Common pleas included some scanning equipment and software. There's the operating transfers that I'd like to be able to get restored into those to give the budget its needed flexibility. Court technology, that was some equipment. Maintenance was equipment, and sheriff, that's 781 primarily right there is salary requests that they had to meet some of their union labor agreement obligations. So the total requests, including the Board of Elections there, was about 3.5 that we were looking to possibly distribute once the final balances are known at the beginning of the year.
In that sheriff number, are there some cars in there too? I think there are, aren't there?
We did actually choose to fund those right away. The sheriff mentioned in his final budget request that the state bid is changing on the sheriff vehicles. They're going to the hybrid Explorers. They've been getting just the standard engine Explorers. They're concerned about reliability, and they also cost about $4,000 to $5,000 more. So in order to utilize, the most bang for the buck, he's going to stick with the older configuration, but it required him to make that purchase right at the beginning of the year. So we did go ahead and fund that. It was about $250,000, like $250,000 that we provided him at the beginning of the year instead of waiting for the distribution of the supplemental. So. Okay, and finally, the general fund is still currently debt-free, and we are, again, cautiously looking to the future as we assess our needs in regards to future capital projects. So, any questions?
Left him speechless again.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yeah.
thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Looks good, looks good.
He's only got 2 hats right now instead of 3.
Skinny. If we compare to some of these other counties.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Adrian, that was good. I'll tell you, it's been I don't usually see a whole lot, in the sense of, beating our drum here, but, I've been here for 6 years now and, gone through 3 different financial people and all of them have been great. And, Dave, now with Jerry on board, it's been, we've got, too many times I see that, people can cast stones out there and try to hit the water to try to make a splash, whether it be, just out in social media, whether it be in the papers, whether it be in whatever, but I can tell you this, over the past 6 years, I continue to watch, the commissioners that I have worked with, and this group especially, of asking the tough questions, and really, this has not been a glad-handing, situation where you basically have friends, friends and family of these other elected officials, and in many campaigns, people will say that they're going to do this and they're going to do that. Well, I'm here to tell you that, this group especially, I am proud as could be, to have this group that has always been willing to take that front step and ask the hard question, and our numbers show it. This is job well done, because people could say what they want, but let's go to the other surrounding counties and go look at what their books are. That we basically have people that are on to be naysayers of what we're doing, but look at the progress, and look at financially where we're at. We are debt free, and we're debt free because of these two guys, because of Dave Blair, Jerry, yourself, and the past commissioners also that have always had a good position on this. And I just, I thank everybody here as far as what you guys have done and worked towards to be able to get to the point that we can try to justify a move and the move isn't because we want a fancy building. The move is because we're going to save more money and be more efficient and looking out for the best interest of the taxpayers, down the road. So it's just, sometimes it's, you just have to sometimes remain silent, because there's a lot of people out there that they say they can do it better, or what are you doing? But I can tell you that no decision in this office is made in a sloppy manner. And trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of scenarios, that behind the scenes, we ask the hard questions and put people in an accountable seat. And I respect the group we've got here, and I can't thank you guys enough. And it shows, Adrian, also on your side of it. I really applaud the fact that you have no problem asking a tough question and demanding the answer. So, and David, it's been a big kudos to you too, because a lot of this has been through your fiscal responsibility and the way that you have kind of groomed a lot of this too, including myself.
Yep.
So everybody thinks it's like we have this big bowl full of money in the back.
Right.
And we don't. We operate literally on that 1% of sales tax. So when you go and buy a car, or you buy a pair of shoes or something, and you get charged 6.75%, remember, we're only getting one of those. Everybody else is, state's getting the remainder of it. And we're trying to make it work.
And I'll add on to that, we were just down at Portage County, and they're struggling. And there's a number of counties that are struggling. And there's that old saying, a fool and his money are soon separated. Not only we're debt free, but we're constantly focusing on doing more with less, so that we can do better things with the money. So it's not we're going to hand out money for this group and that group and do all these, la land kinds of things. It's really, what is the best way we can provide the best service for the citizens of this county? And I'm very pleased with the team that we've got today, and hopefully we'll stay on that track. I know with these two guys we will. We're efficiently and effectively spending the money, so I can trust in that. So,
And if I could add, part of the attitude I came in here with is you got to live like the taxpayer. You look at the taxpayer, especially in the private sector, and where do we spend the biggest part of our money? It's on payroll. And we look how people are paid, and we look all around us. We're surrounded by examples of governments who are pretty free to spend money on people over and above what the average taxpayer who's paying the bill is getting. But this office has consistently looked and said, we're not going to certainly hold ourselves or our employees above. We want to value our employees and do right by our employees, but we're always mindful of, okay, what are we doing for our employees, and what are the people out there in the private sector Because the private sector is where this is all made possible. Government doesn't make money.
Mhm.
We provide services and we try and do it as effectively as possible. And that's been, I think, with all the commissioners I've served with, we've always had this mantra, let's live like the taxpayer and be responsible, even though it can sometimes be hard having those conversations with employees that look around and see other places that are paying a lot more, and you wonder, why are they doing that? It's because either they're not living like the taxpayer or they're not paying attention.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that?
So then if
Do we need to sign these? Is that what the deal is?
Yes, I
There's an
know.
action to adopt the permanent
Oh,
appropriation.
I already moved. I was up there.
I have a second. Mr. Claypool?
Yes,
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
yes,
I'll pile on. Thank you, Adrian. You did a
Thank you,
nice job.
Adrian.
Thank
Yep, absolutely.
One of the best.
Yep.
I don't give you a big head, because then it would just slip.
No, no, definitely not.
what's it, Kristen? Okay, addition. What is your addition?
My addition,
Your addition?
my addition.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board accept the resignation of David Lair, County Administrator, to be effective January 4th, 2019.
No, nope. Not doing it.
Okay.
You know, we're not often able to say no, we'll just have to let him deal with it. Hire an attorney, Dave.
Yeah.
We got plenty of money in the bank, Dan.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you pass go. So moved. Second,
Mr. Claypool?
With much chagrin, I will say yes.
Mr. Leonard?
yes.
I can't say that, you know, we're moving on to a new era. With Dave Laird out of town, I mean, it's nothing away from you, Jerry. You're a fantastic guy. You
Yeah.
huge shoes. But Dave has been here since.
I am so
Yeah.
fortunate we have Jerry here, because,
So,
you know, sometimes we struggle with all the stuff going on, and one of my thoughts in my mind is, you know, when I'm out of the way, maybe suddenly things will smooth out, and it was like, we should have got rid of this guy years ago, you know?
No.
No.
You know, I'll tell you, you've done things right, you know, since, in a lot of different ways. Since I've been here as a new commissioner, you know, I relied on you heavily for everything, you know, and you've always been upfront and forthright and genuine and a partner. But, you know, what I really appreciate is that you've looked through the future of setting this up so this is a smooth transition. You know, you've been working hard for the last probably year and a half, probably, to get, you know, obviously we, you know, focused on getting Jerry in here to, as a transition piece, but beyond that, you know, with the rest of the office and with me, and I knew this day was coming. I was, you know, hopeful that we could, you know, we've got a lot of big things
know.
coming down the pipeline where, you know, your institutional knowledge is gonna be needed, you know, so we'll probably be, have you on speed dial, I'm sure at least Jerry will.
I'll be there. I'm
Yeah.
taking care of my wife. That's
Yeah.
basically what's going on here. My wife's got a lot of health issues. She just lost her mom, and I need to be there for her. I need to maintain my own health, and we need to be there for our kids and our grandkids. And so that's what my focus is going to be. But I'll be in Newbury. I'm not far away, and
Yeah.
I'm always going to be available to help wherever I can, because this has been the career love of my life, to
Yeah.
be able to do this job in a county where I grew up. Just
Yeah.
so cool. And I'm eternally grateful to these guys and to all the commissioners I worked with in the past. It's been a wonderful time.
Yeah, and we have a lot of confidence in Jerry, you know, picking up the torch and
Absolutely.
running with it for sure. So
Absolutely.
I think we're well positioned, and but it's going to be tough for me because I think out of the three of us, I probably relied on you the most, you know. So
We serve every commissioner coming in here. We try to serve so they feel like their needs are being,
yeah,
you know, that's our job. That's what this office does. It's not a lot of people coming in and don't know anything, thinking, well, they're a bunch of political appointees or whatever.
right.
No, this is a professional group of people. It always has been. I mean, it was when I got here, and it is right now.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Jerry, so you know, I will serve for 14 years.
Mhm.
The longest person before that, unfortunately, Mr. Murray had passed away. I think he had 6 years in.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry's got enough time left that I'm looking forward to him breaking my record.
Yeah.
I'll be back for the day that happens, hopefully, God willing. So,
No, it is. It's going to be it's a big void that you know that Jerry's going to fill a certain amount, but you've had the ability over the last 6 years. You know, there've been a lot of confrontational situations that you've had to deal with. You know, and it's you've never had an easy job. So just so you know that, Jerry.
Oh, I know.
wait a month before you tell him.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just that you know you were able to always keep it in balance, and you know the reality is the team that's sitting at this table, I don't think will ever be again, and we were the team that finally got things done, and I could say that being the senior commissioner here, that it's been a privilege and an honor to serve with you and with Skip and bringing Jerry on board. That it's just an incredible. It's been an incredible 2 years of time, and I think that you being here as long as you have, and even conversations we've had, we actually were able to finally put the pen to the paper to move things forward.
Yep.
and move that needle.
Mhm.
And
We got another month here to,
never forget
we're gonna
that.
be running hard for the next month.
And I do appreciate all your hard work and taking, having to be that referee sometimes in the middle, and you've done a great job, Dave.
I want to call out Mrs. Blair across the table there.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
She's been totally awesome to work with. She's terrific. And one of the frustrations I think we need to work on when you get to the state level and you're in the legislature, wherever you're going, we need to change that title for that job there, because the average person says, "Oh, the clerk." No. She should have went to law school, because she is very, very, very careful. And she owns that job, and she makes sure everything is done exactly right.
100%.
If the average citizen knew how, well, and others in the office too, everybody in this office takes their job. They don't take themselves seriously, but they take the job extremely seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, very good.
All right.
So other than
Thank you,
that,
Dave.
thank you, Dave, very much. It's it's been an honor and a privilege, and
Right back
It'll-
at you, sir.
I've learned so much.
Yeah.
So
We none of us ever stop learning.
Yeah.
I'll learn things the next 30 days. I didn't know that.
Sure.
And that's part of this cool job.
yeah. Okay, so it's 10:10, and at this point, I guess we've got a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you. Good job, John.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of shit happened there later.
Yeah.
Dave Sage is supposed to be coming over.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, good.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember going through that same discussion with Wise